Hello friends, welcome to English Crime Story YouTube channel. Today I will discuss crime hunter, serial killer Mack Ray Edwards left kids buried all over LA. Please watch the video till the end. Mack Ray Edwards put his loaded .22 caliber handgun on the counter and began his confession on March 6, 1970. Three young sisters in nearby Selma had been kidnapped. The girls all recognized the 51-year-old Arkansas native, who lived in the same neighborhood. "I'm glad they got away because it would have been 9 murders, instead of 6, he told detectives. Mack Ray Edwards knew the jig was up. There were other things, he told detectives. The big heavy equipment operator then filled in the blanks in a mosaic of horror. He told detectives, "I have a guilt complex. I couldn't eat and I couldn't sleep and it was beginning to affect my work. You know, I'm a heavy equipment operator. That long grader I'm using now costs a lot of money, $200,000. I might wreck it, or turn it over and hurt someone." Like millions of others, Edwards moved from his home state to California in 1941. The Golden State was booming with war work. Jobs were plentiful and Edwards was in high demand as a skilled heavy equipment operator. He married a young woman in 1946 and the couple settled in suburban San Fernando Valley and had 2 children. Jobs were plentiful, housing was cheap and it was a golden age, except Edwards had a problem. That issue first manifested itself on June 20, 1953. Little Stella Darlene Nolan, 8, of Compton, was at a flea market refreshment stand when she vanished. 27 years later, Edwards copped to raping and strangling the child and dumping her body off a bridge in the Angeles forest. When he returned a day later, the child was still alive, so he stabbed her to death. In an LAPD homicide interrogation room that spring day in 1970, under the bright lights blasting in his face, Mack Ray Edwards did indeed unburden himself. He proceeded to chronicle a 17-year cavalcade of horror that began with Stella Darlene Nolan. Cops had no doubt Edwards was telling the truth. Some of the children's bodies would never be found. On August 6, 1956, Donald Lee Baker, 13, and Brenda Jo Howell, 11, rode their bikes to the San Gabriel Canyon. Several days later, the boys' jacket and Brenda's bicycle were found. They would never be seen again. Edwards slit their throats. Roger Dale Madison, 15, got pinched by his dad for smoking and left the family home on his motorcycle on December 16, 1968. The teen lived 5 houses away from Edwards and was friends with the killer's son. He stabbed the boy to death. Gary Roche, 16, was found shot to death at his home on November 26, 1968. Edwards said he shot the teen while attempting to kidnap Roche's 13-year-old sister, who wasn't at home. Donald Allen Todd, 13, disappeared on May 16, 1969, after being sent home from school for fighting. 2 children found his body below a bridge. He had been sexually assaulted and executed with a .22 caliber handgun. 6 is all there is, just 6. Edwards told shocked homicide detectives. Investigators were not convinced. Edwards told one guard at the LA County Jail he had murdered between 18 and 22 children. Tommy Bowman, 8, was last seen walking on a canyon trail with family on March 23, 1957. Edwards confessed to kidnapping and murdering the boy in a jailhouse letter to his wife. There were others. Bruce Kremen, 6, vanished in the Angeles National Forest in July 1960. Karen Lynn Tompkins, 11, disappeared on August 18, 1961, after an art class. Dorothy Gale Brown, 11, was gone forever on July 2, 1962, disappearing after riding her bike to the store. Her naked body was discovered in a kelp bed. Ramona Price, 7, was last seen in Santa Barbara on September 2, 1961. A witness saw her getting into a late model Plymouth with a white man. Mack Ray Edwards was a longtime contractor and heavy equipment operator for Caltrans, the agency responsible for building the thousands of miles of freeways in car-crazy Southern California. The killer said he got rid of the children he murdered by burying them under tons of concrete on the roads he helped erect. The beaten serial killer pleaded guilty to 3 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of murder. Edwards was desperate to die, and tried several times to kill himself. If ever there was a case that cried out for the imposition of the death penalty, this is the case. This defendant has forfeited whatever right a person has to live in this society, Deputy DA David Kenner told the jury, who agreed. Mack Ray Edwards would die in the gas chamber at San Quentin. He did not want an appeal. I want the chair. That's what I've always wanted. I told them that when I went into the police station. They didn't say that in court. This was sadistic to bring these parents and other witnesses down here and put them through this, Edwards said. Death row it was. And in the cell next to Edwards was a scruffy hippie named Charles Manson. On October 30, 1971, Edwards hanged himself in his cell.